Welcome to episode number 363 of the Beyond Social Media Show, the podcast for all of you marketing, advertising, public relations, and communications professionals. You can find us by searching for Beyond Social Media Show. We are recording on October 16, 2021. You'll want to go back to episode 362 for BL's interview with Shelley Palmer about how crypto will affect marketing and e-commerce. If you have not already listened to that or watched that fantastic interview, be sure to do so. This week, we have a bunch of topics to talk about, including consistent jerks, sleep number content marketing, 5 new Twitter features, mock condom ads, poetic justice, stadium marketing, branded NFTs, survey marketing, Google Tuner and Lego Strats, seasonal candy bars, Amazon bots, Facebook whistleblowers, fake reviews, the pitch from hell, or another pitch from hell, Clubhouse shorting creators, and then at the end we'll share some interesting online review facts that we've uncovered, but we kick it off with the best story of the week, and BL always has that honors. BL, what do you got?
Well, this is probably not surprising to a lot of people, but people who are jerks online are absolutely the same offline. This new research indicates the internet does not make people act like jerks, but it gives jerks a megaphone. So this is a story from Gizmodo about a Cambridge organization survey, and the reporter at Gizmodo was Tom McKay. So the study was from the American Political Science Review, and they used behavioral studies from the US and Denmark to establish the reason why people think that the online environment is so much more hostile than the offline interaction. And the hypothesis more or less amounts to the idea that humans would be nicer to each other in person, and they might get more nasty when they are interacting pseudonymously on the internet. But the researchers found that wasn't true. They said, we found that people are not more hostile online than offline. Hostile individuals do not preferentially select into online versus offline political discussions, and people do not overperceive hostility in online messages. They said, we did find some evidence for another selection effect. Non-hostile individuals select out from all the hostile as well as the non-hostile online political discussions. So the bottom line here is, if you're an asshole online, you're probably also an asshole offline.
Interesting. That does not surprise me. I think assholes are probably consistent across across media. I do think that there's something to be said that I anecdotally have noticed this, is people's personalities can change from, if you know them and you know them offline and then you observe them online, there's a different aspect to their personality that comes through online. And I think they are more capable of being aggressive online than you would expect them to be offline, just from my own observations.
Yeah,
but
it might
again,
be your friend.
anecdote doesn't yeah. So maybe they just need some more sleep.
Yeah, well, who doesn't?
Yeah, well, everybody does apparently, because so I was watching CNN a couple of weeks ago, and the segment came on with, a wide-eyed, cute little primate called the slow loris. It was a fascinating little segment about the natural world where, I was going to learn something new. And so I'm watching this and getting into it, and it eventually became clear that it wasn't a news segment, it was a TV commercial. It was a 3-minute and 45-second TV commercial.
Oh, we haven't seen those in a long time.
Yeah, well, I don't think ever. I don't care. It's the 60-second spot, right? It's not a 3-minute and 45-minute television commercial.
No, there have been some, but it has been a while.
Well, there's another, and this is by Sleep Number. So the one I was watching, the slow loris, I'm going to read the description from the YouTube video. The slow loris is one of the first nocturnal primates to have their sleep patterns studied in the wild. Learn more about how their Circadian rhythms can inform our own sleep habits from Dr. Kathleen Reinhart, who's a primatologist and scientific illustrator. So the commercial had this documentary, basically, about the slow loris and the slow loris's sleep patterns, commentated by this Dr. Kathleen Reinhart, who's a scientist, primatologist, scientific illustrator. And it was fascinating. I watched it through the end. But it came on without any preface of it. It wasn't an obvious commercial. It came on with a slow, a brief chyron of Sleep Number content, I think, or sponsored content by Sleep Number, or whatever. But the rest of it is very, very compelling content and interesting and everything. There's another one on bears. So most of us know what hibernation is, but studying the lesser known physiological changes of the bears may offer new insights into sleep, even for humans. Wildlife biologist Wes Larson explains heart rate variability, or HRV, and what it means for quality sleep. And then there's another one on the bog turtle. Conservation biologist J.J. Apodaca takes us deep into the southern Appalachians to meet North America's smallest and most endangered species of turtle, the bog turtle. With the help of the cutting-edge technology and Sleep Number's 360 smart bed, Dr. Apodaca can use data-driven insights to understand his sleep and set the ideal conditions for sleeping well every night. So all three of these are basic little documentaries on nature's how sleep affects.
Wait. The turtle slept in the Sleep Number bed?
No, the doctor did. The turtle sleeps under mud. It burrows itself under mud to get cool when it's trying to sleep. That's one of the insights. So there's these three 3-minute 45-second segments that are basically mini documentaries that tie into facts about the natural world and sleep to humans, and obviously the product of Sleep Number's 360 smart bed. Using scientists to provide credible insights and of the importance of sound sleep. There's BL yawning. She's clearly needs some sleep. But I thought it was fascinating because, and I have video, we'll share videos of the actual segments from Sleep Number's YouTube channel so you can watch them. But I also have recorded video on my TV screen so you can see the transition from the CNN segment into the commercial and out of it. And it really just, if you're not paying close attention, it looks like an actual segment. So you're not inclined to immediately click away because you see it's an ad.
Well, and also cute animals.
Yeah, well, big wide-eyed, cute animals. Yeah.
So not as much fun as that for sure, but Twitter just can't seem to stop changing every day. There's something new, sometimes twice a day. And so I'm just going to tell you about 5 new features. One of them is that Twitter is starting to extend business profiles. Invitations are being sent out to some businesses telling them they can apply for a business profile. I did this for one of my clients. And so you can have that profile on your account, and it's Twitter says it's a new tool on Twitter that enables businesses, publishers, developers, and creators to have a clearly defined and unique presence on the platform. By providing a professional profile, you add legitimacy. So basically, they're launching with an about manual, and there are people who can nominate themselves, but they're not guaranteed to be accepted. So qualifying businesses have to have a physical location where they want customers to visit. They have to be based in the United States, and they have to use Twitter in English. And you can nominate your business by filling out this application that I'll put a link to. You have to have your hours, methods of contact, so this is an imitation of Google My Business, and but it's really a good idea for Twitter. So then the other thing is Bitcoin tipping has come to Twitter. Twitter is the key watering hole for the cryptorati, and so now you can tip with Bitcoin. There's a whole bunch of creator-centric features that revolve around Bitcoin, and it creates the possibility of using Bitcoin as a major payment rail within a large social network for the first time ever. But perhaps more interesting than payments is Twitter's next crypto created feature, which is authenticated NFT profile pictures for PFP, for non-fungible token people among us. So Twitter's going to let users connect crypto wallets to an account and display NFTs held by that wallet with the addition of an authentic badge in the profile picture. And that's from The Verge. And collectors are able to show off their NFTs as profile pictures without suspicion that they don't actually own them, because now anybody can put up a picture of a Bored Ape and not actually own it. So Twitter has also begun to insert ads right in a reply stream. So truly, I think that's a lousy place for ads, but they're trying something different. They're testing a formula within tweet conversations. And if you're part of this test, which is global and it's on iOS and Android only, you're going to see ads after the first, third, or the eighth reply under a tweet. Next, there is a way to soft block annoying users. So they're rolling out this new feature that lets any user on the web app remove a follower without blocking them. And they call that a soft block. And it makes no sense to me whatsoever. To do this, you head to your profile, you click followers, you click the 3-dot menu next to the follower, and then click the option remove this follower. And you can see what that option looks like in an image that I'll include. But the follower that you removed is not notified that you've done that, but it's different from an actual block because the user can still see your tweets and direct message you, but they won't see your tweets on your feed. I don't quite understand that, but when you remove a follower, they can follow you again. So this one makes no sense to me whatsoever, but every once in a while, Twitter does something that makes no sense whatsoever. So now Twitter has also announced the Spark program for Spaces. And this one offers audio creators money and ad credits for promoting their Spaces programs. It's a 3-month accelerator initiative, and it is trying to discover and reward great spaces with financial, technical, and marketing support. And Twitter says, we're looking for emerging creators who are passionate about the live social audio format, interested in creating recurring programming on Spaces. Whether you have an existing show you've been hosting for weeks or a new conversation you want to try, we want to support you. So you can apply until October 22nd. And if you're selected, you'll receive monthly payments of $2,500 US dollars while you participate in the program. You're responsible for your own taxes. So that's a really interesting one because as I will tell you later, it's the opposite of what Clubhouse has done.
The business profiles is the best among that right now.
Yeah.
We did talk about that maybe last year when I'd been asked to take a survey by Twitter, and among the things they were asking about was the business profile stuff. And so yeah, we covered that a little bit in anticipation of this happening, and I'm glad they're actually doing it.
Well, I actually think that's a good thing, but the NFT innovations are they are the platform for this industry, and I think it's really smart of them to take the lead the way they are.
Yeah, the just on the Twitter Spaces thing, I have pretty much abandoned Clubhouse. I mean, just
most people have.
I mean, but I do, I think it's habit, because unless you're in the hustle thing and you want to go build your audience and hang out on Clubhouse to try and do that and whatever, a lot of people are doing it. But I don't have time to do that. I don't have an inclination to do that, but I am interested in the audio streaming, the social audio stuff, and I most encounter it on Twitter. So when I'm scrolling through Twitter on my app, there's one going on. I'm going to pop in and listen to it.
Yep.
And that's where I'm getting, most of the audio stuff. But the discovery and all that stuff will shake out. But yeah, interesting stuff. This my story happened 3 years ago, but I missed it. But it's so good, I have to talk about it. Better late than never. And so there was a Brazilian design firm called Platinum FMD who created a mock condom ad as a promotional tool. And it went viral. And it went viral because it's so hilariously well done. The ad consists of a series of simple illustrations that depict dictators fighting to escape from the inside of a condom. So, message, in case you missed it, is some people should never have been born, right?
Yeah.
But the dictators in question were Vladimir Putin, of course, Kim Jong Un, and Donald Trump. So we'll put the embedded in show notes so people can see them. But the illustrations are just brilliant. They're very funny, and yeah, take a look.
The former guy should certainly never have been born. So Amanda Gorman, who is just such an American treasure, she has accepted a $17 million contract. Well, actually, she turned down $17 million in endorsement offers, but she accepted an Estee Lauder offer. And this is from a New York Times article by Vanessa Friedman. And she said, I think about what it would mean to me at 5 years old to see a dark-skinned woman with a speech impediment as a spokesperson for a beauty brand. Good for her, and she also has a wonderful new poem that has been on various social channels, and she's just a treasure.
Great. Is her book out yet?
I think it is.
Because I tried to buy it and it wasn't out, and
I think it has just come out. I think that's why the new poem is circulating.
That makes sense. Yeah. All right. So it's football season again. My Vikings are having an FE season, but I'm a diehard fan, so I watch every Sunday. And I was watching the Vikings play last Sunday. They played at home at US Bank Stadium. And the beginning of the broadcast, where the broadcasters were introducing the game and talking before kickoff, there was this weird technical glitch. It looked like white noise going on behind the broadcasters as they're talking pregame. But it turns out it wasn't a technical glitch. This is from WCCO TV's Heather Brown. And so, I date myself here, but I'm an old school Vikings fan, diehard Vikings fan. Grew up watching the Vikings when they played in an open air stadium, Met Stadium in Bloomington, Minnesota, in the snow. So I watch the Vikings play games routinely in blizzards with, sub-zero temperatures and the smoke, the steam billowing from their mouths as they played. It was a competitive advantage. The Vikings coach at the time, Bud Grant, legendary, a Hall of Fame coach, forbade heaters on the sidelines for his players. The other team, the Los Angeles Rams would come in and they'd have heaters and they'd be all huddled around the heaters, but Bud Grant didn't allow that for his players. They had old school players like Dave Brown and Dave Osborne and Bill Boom Boom Brown, who wore short sleeves for winter games to intimidate the opposition. So I grew up loving snowball, right? Then the Vikings moved into the Hubert H. Humphrey Metrodome in 1982, and it had, it was a covered stadium. It had an inflated roof, so the air inside the stadium held it up. So when you walked out the doors of the Metrodome after a game, you were basically pushed out by the air because the air would be escaping through the doors. It was an interesting experience. But in 2010, during a blizzard, the Metrodome roof collapsed during a snowstorm. And so there's this video of all this snow coming through, and that marked the end of the Metrodome. And so
I remember that. That was big news.
Yeah, it was. So they built US Bank Stadium, which is mostly enclosed. It has a roof, but you can open up. They've got these big doors that you can open up to have air coming through, and it's a beautiful stadium, but no snowball games. So I really miss that. What I saw last Sunday on the broadcast was not a weird technical thing. It was something that replaced. So the Vikings had pyrotechnics. Actually, every team probably in the league had this pyrotechnic display when the players announced before the game. But in 2019, the Tennessee Titans started a fire in their stadium because of a pyrotechnic glitch or malfunction or whatever. Literally, there was a fire in the stadium that they had to put out because of their pyrotechnics. So the NFL banned the pyrotechnics during stadiums. So now, instead of pyrotechnics, this year the Vikings have created snow inside of their stadium. They have snow machines positioned through, like 18 of them positioned throughout the stadium that literally creates artificial snow, so it feels like it's snowing inside of the stadium and has the feeling of an old school outdoor game. Clearly, the snow is not accumulating; it's really just sort of soap, but it looks like snow. But I just love it. That's a great marketing experience for a stadium, right? To replace something that a lot of fans miss.
Well, it's a football story for sure.
Well, it's not an NFT story, that's for sure.
Well, my next one is an NFT
There we go.
I'm talking about branded NFTs that are what brands are doing in experimenting. And this is from web strategist blog Jeremiah Oyang. And, the question is like, should brands do this or should they not do this? When does it make sense for them to do this? So Jeremiah did a post that has a frequently updated list of the brands that are issuing NFTs. And as I discussed with Shelley Palmer, there's definitely FOMO involved, but there's also a huge opportunity. And the problem really is that, and I see this every day, marketers are woefully behind and therefore not in a position to advise brands. But I am. So, the question is, when does it make sense for a brand to launch an NFT? And if you're a digital leader and you're used to trying new technologies, and even if they're not fully mature, like a lot of brands have done in the past, this is for you. If you have a passionate community that loves your brand and what it stands for, if your customers are already collecting brand assets, antique products, signs, ads, this is signal that your customers may be open to this, which clearly Coca-Cola thought theirs were, and it turned out that they sold out. If your customer base is already using crypto or NFTs, this is a technology that they understand and ideally use. If your brand knows how to limit the quantity to create scarcity, that'll drive up the value. If your company is familiar with blockchain technology and or has found a reputable platform and partners to work with, if you're ready to offer additional features beyond just an image, with access to premium experience, with discounts, with recognition, access to a community or some creative perk. But the use of NFTs that is most interesting to me are the companies that are using them to do good, to offset carbon, to argue against carbon offsets, to contribute to charities. It's so early in this game, and there's such a huge opportunity. And I am down this rabbit hole big time, and really learning something new every day. It's really fascinating.
All right. Well, this is also fascinating. So, local customer review survey by Bright Local. They do this every year. This one is done by Rosie Murphy of Bright Local. So they are a platform for managing local listings and online reviews and everything. So they have a lot of data from their users, and they do a survey every year, as I said, of consumer behavior and attitudes towards local customer reviews. It's a yearly must read for anyone who does local digital marketing. But beyond the great data and the insights that the report has, the presentation of how of the report itself is outstanding. So we'll put a link to 2021 in the show notes. But it starts with the byline, right? They have the byline of the reporter of Rosie Murphy who's reporting on it with a photograph, right? So the photograph accompanies the byline that creates trust. It has a little like 18-minute read, right? So it's not too long to digest. It shows the comments, 80 comments, more than 1,000 shares, so that provides the social proof. And then the beginning of the article is the headline is key statistics, and it has a bunch of bullet points underneath that key statistics headline, but the bullet points are in the shape of a Twitter bird. And when you hover over them, the Twitter bird flaps its wings. So it's an animated graphic for each bullet point. So it's just well done. It's a tweet this link, right? So when you click on it, it tweets the key statistic for that bullet point. Just brilliantly done. There's a sidebar table of contents that has the kind of the accordion box element of a website. When you click on the plus, it expands, and within that expansion is a link for each section of the report. So the table of contents has the main section. You click on it on each section and expands to provide links for the subject sections of that section, and those are internal hyperlinks, which is an SEO tactic too. So those internal hyperlinks can create links within search results that appear beneath the main link. So it's another way of gaining attention in your search results. Below that is a previous surveys box. Below the table of contents is a box for previous surveys, and they've had surveys since 2010. So 10 years worth of 10 years worth of surveys so far. Both boxes persist as you scroll. So if you want to jump around the report, you have that table of contents access to you wherever you are in the report. Great user experience. They have a bunch of graphs in it, so each graph is branded with Bright Locals logo, as are they have mini infographics as well. They know that these graphics and infographics are likely to be displayed off-site, so we'll embed one on our site, on third-party sites. So there's the branding on the third-party site. They'll be discoverable through image search. They'll be shared on social, so that branding persists regardless of whether it's on their site or not. They have an interactive HTML table for a set of results. So rather than having like 30 rows of content, they're 10 rows each, and you have previous and next bars that you can navigate throughout the rows of content. It's just an excellent example of how to publish survey results. So we'll put a link to it in the show notes so people can check it out.
I'm out of good news, so if you got more, go ahead.
I do indeed. We got a couple of music-related, guitar-related stories to report on quickly. Google, this is from Engadget's Mariella Moon. Google has now includes a guitar tuner in search results. So if you search for guitar tuner, you will get a guitar tuner in the search results. You'll need to activate the microphone so it can listen, but you can tune your guitar now directly from Google search results, which is...
Oh, that is cool.
Yes, it's super awesome. It works beautifully too. I have put it to test. Also very cool is, and this is a hat tip to my friend Monica Melsha, who pointed it out to me, Lego has partnered with the Fender Guitar Company to create a Fender Stratocaster guitar and amp Lego set. So if you're watching on the video, you look over my shoulder, that guitar on my wall in the middle is that's a Fender Stratocaster. So that's the type of guitar they've created a Lego set out of. You can buy it for $99.99. You can build either a red or a black Strat. It's available for sale now on the Lego website. We'll put a link for people who want to buy it. I want one, definitely. And then lastly, on good stories, Salted Nut Roll, my favorite candy bar, has some new flavors. I should mention Pearson's is a client of that makes Salted Nut Roll. It's a client of our agency, but they had previously released spicy and cinnamon flavors. So cinnamon flavored Salted Nut Roll and spicy, which are really actually spicy, not Minnesota spicy, which is mild. They're actually spicy Salted Nut Rolls. But now they have pumpkin spice and apple pie flavored salted nut rolls. They are available at selected retailers, but you can also buy them at Amazon.
You know, even Trader Joe's has pumpkin spice dog treats for the season.
Have you tried them?
No, but Lucy likes them a lot.
Well, that's
and
what I
there's,
meant.
yeah. But yes, Lucy likes them. So this is about Amazon's creepy new robot. This is the worst stories of the week part. So he's very cute, and his name is Astro, and he's very sinister, and it's kind of like a Ray Bradbury story, but nope, it's not. It's Amazon's robot. And leaked documents, according to Vice, show that this Astro robot is designed to track absolutely everything that you do and create a privacy nightmare. So the robot is designed to track the behavior of everybody in your home, and that helps it perform surveillance and helper duties according to their internal documents. And so Motherboard obtained this report that explained like how they're spying on you, and the system's person recognition system is very heavily flawed according to them, and according to people who worked on the project. So hey, what could go right here? So in the video about Astro, one of the things that they show is that there's all of a sudden things falling on the floor in the kitchen, and Astro comes racing in and broadcasts to the person's phone who's out of the house that a raccoon has come into the kitchen, and Astro comes up and scares it away. And that's an example of surveillance, which I assume would also work if someone broke into your house, but I frankly think an alarm system would be better. So they say that Astro is designed to give you peace of mind, and first and foremost, it's a surveillance device that tracks you and everybody who enters and leaves your home. And if a user purchases the $999 robot, customers have to enroll their face and their voice and the faces and the voices of anybody who's likely to be in the home, so Astro can tell who's supposed to be there. And developers who work on it say that the robot really doesn't work very well. One of them said Astro is terrible and will almost certainly throw itself down a flight of stairs if presented the opportunity. The person detection is unreliable at best, making the in-home security proposition laughable. That's somebody who worked on the project. The device feels fragile for something with an absurd cost. The mast has broken on several devices, locking itself in the extended or retracted position, and there's no way to ship it to Amazon when that happens. So they're also pushing it as an accessibility device, but with the mast, M-A-T-S, breaking, and the possibility that at any moment it'll commit suicide on a flight of stairs, it's at best kind of absurdist nonsense and a marketing tool. At worst, it's a potentially dangerous thing for anybody who wants to rely on it for accessibility purposes. So once again, something from Amazon that I won't have in my house.
Well, it's an R&D project, right? It's not, this is not even.
Oh no, you can buy it.
You can actually buy it?
Mm-hmm.
Huh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you can buy it. Astro's available. You can buy it now.
I mean, I get what you're saying, but there's an argument to be made, a legitimate argument to be made that that personal robots are going to be needed because we don't have enough people to care for elderly people, and we've got aging populations. So having the assistance of a robot in the home makes a lot of sense. And in that case, then surveillance is how it operates, because it's going to have to recognize different people, different things, different, so I mean, we already have surveillance devices that track us everywhere we go, every day of the moment,
Yeah, but Ray Bradbury already wrote this story. This was the house that had all the talking devices. I forget the name of the story, but there's danger here. There's no two ways about it.
Of course there is. There always is with any technology, but it doesn't mean that there aren't benefits as well.
Yeah, well, that's why I don't have Alexa in my bedroom. So do you have bad news for us?
Yeah, I have the worst news. This is Facebook's whistleblower
Oh
testimony. I mean,
God.
that wasn't worse. That's a benefit to society that it happened. But there's a 3.5 hour testimony before the Senate Commerce Committee by Frances Haugen, who discusses who is literally a whistleblower who took documents from Facebook to discuss, to demonstrate, to prove, their malfeasance. Frances Haugen is straight out of Central Casting, this blonde-haired, blue-eyed woman from the Midwest, from Iowa. And as I said, she brought documents that demonstrated that Facebook literally turned off their algorithms uh, in the run up to January 6th because they realized how bad things could get. But then after that happened, they turned them back on because they wanted the outrage. They wanted the outrage that generated more engagement, that generates more opportunities for advertising. So she basically called them out with damning evidence, and then also had a 60-minute interview.
Which
So
was
this
great.
it was great, but it's clearly calculated PR plan to inflict the maximum awareness of the public of Facebook's behavior. So
And it's about time.
it is about time. And if anything, there's also another whistleblower who's going to give testimony in the UK. So that follows on the heels of this. If anything can, I mean, there's actually bipartisan anger towards Facebook for different reasons, obviously. But if both conservatives and liberals are are ready to do something, something might actually happen. So we'll see.
Well, brands are going to have to do something. Brands are going to have to boycott Facebook. And the part of it that was fascinating to me was that the day after the 60 Minutes interview, when the New York Times story and all the others came out, Zuckerberg personally lost $6 billion, and that did not make him poor. That's nothing to him. So this is all about money. That's what it's about. And I'm so done with. I mean, I know you think that is great for advertisers, and obviously it is,
I would
but
like a choice. I would love a choice. I don't feel good about it, but
well, I won't let my clients do it. Anyway, the FTC is warning brands about fake reviews and telling them that they could be fined more than $40,000 for a single instance of using a misleading endorsement to deceive customers. I have this in worse news simply because this practice is so widespread among brands. And this is from an Ad Age story by Ethan Jacob Kraft. And fake reviews, there are even companies who make it their specialty to post fake reviews. And there's one that's called, if you just put buy Google reviews in search, lots of companies come up, including ones that charge $10 for a Google review, like this one called Marketing HY. And that says, pay us and be sure to send us a link to your review page and the reviews that you want posted. And then they take, and they somehow, what they do is they take reviews that were posted by real people, and they use their name and they just change the review, and then they post it on the client that is paying them. So the FTC unanimously decided that they were going to send these so-called notices of penalty offenses to more than 700 brands, reminding them that enforcement of their enforcement powers and cautioning them that they could get a civil penalty of up to $43,792 per violation. And the director of the FTC's Bureau of Consumer Protection, Samuel Levine, said fake reviews and other forms of the deceptive endorsements cheat consumers and undercut honest businesses. And he added that companies are going to pay a price if they engage in this. So the list of companies that they warned includes some of the largest advertisers: Ford, GM, Walmart, Target, Amazon, McDonald's, Burger King, Mattel, and Marriott. And also several major US-based agencies, including 72andSunny, BBD&O, DDB, McCann World Group, Saatchi and Saatchi, and Whedon and Kennedy. So the practices might be met by FTC enforcement, and they are not limited to falsely claiming an endorsement by a third party, misrepresenting whether an endorser is an actual current or recent user, using an endorsement to make deceptive performance claims, failing to disclose an unexpected material connection with an endorser, and misrepresenting that the experience of endorsers represents consumers who are typical or ordinary, and of course not saying that the reviews were paid for. This is a really big warning signal to the entire ad community that the FTC is going to become very aggressive in enforcing its actions in the future, according to Linda Goldstein, who's a partner at a law firm called Baker Hostetler. And she co-leads their advertising, marketing, and digital media team. So, it's one of those things that it's about time, but we'll see if anything actually happens.
That's what I'm thinking. I'm like, okay, I'll wait till I see it because we haven't seen it ever.
Yeah.
But if it's going to happen, it's going to happen in this administration. Certainly won't happen.
But I mean, equally so, everybody's down on Facebook, and will anything actually happen? Because look what after Cambridge Analytica, nothing happened. After, nothing happens. Certain companies and certain people seem to be made of Teflon.
Yeah, and have a lot of lobbyists. Yeah. So this comes from the Department of Cluelessness. Another example of an awful, stupid email pitch. So I got it with a subject line that said the best way to operate your business. I don't even know why I opened it, but I did. It's, Dear owner, one, don't know who I am. I was on your Videolicious TV, period. Okay. Website? So I have this domain called Videolicious TV. I was on your Videolicious TV, period. No matter how good your website is, it can always be better, period. No argument there. What I think, comma, there are a few things we could implement within very few second, singular, that would help you boost your Google rankings, comma, conversions, comma, organic traffic, comma, and social media, all caps, period. Is this of attention? Question mark. Sincerely, Kevin Morton. So Kevin Morton, I don't know what language he speaks, but it's English is his second language if that's the case. And Videolicious TV is for sale. So all it is a domain, is a park domain that says you can buy this domain. So clearly didn't look at the website or anything, but just this gives me an opportunity to say if anybody wants to buy it, email me.
Yeah, really, I get them all day long. I came across your blog, or my favorite ones are the ones like, I noticed that you mentioned this company in this post, and I'm hoping you'll add our company to it. And if I look at the post is from like 2008.
Right. Yep.
And so I just put those in spam. I don't even answer them anymore. I used to answer them, and if I'm really, if in the mood, I'll say, clearly you haven't looked at my blog. But yeah, I guess that's an industry of people that just do that. And dear, what do they call, dear blogger? I'm still getting those, dear blogger, dear editor, and my favorite, dear Blockman. Anyway, and then there's somebody who I'm on some list being called Lloyd, hi Lloyd, like who's Lloyd? But anyhow, talking about Twitter is going to start paying creators. Clubhouse is having a problem because they're apparently not paying creators. They promised that they were going to get sponsors for podcasters to use the platform, but nothing makes someone want to create more than the incentive of getting paid for it. And Clubhouse needs creators, but creators need cash. So this is from an Ashley Carmen story in The Verge, and Clubhouse has a creator first program, and they offered creators a stipend to make 12 episodes of a live audio program. And part of the deal, they said that they would match creators with advertisers so that they could turn the idea into a quote profitable creative endeavor. But the spoiler here is that did not happen. You can listen off platform. You can't listen off platform because Clubhouse has no recording option, although some creators have recorded their rooms. And since Clubhouse doesn't promote the podcasts within the platform, it's pretty hard to get listeners, let alone sponsors. And there's no real ad targeting. Hosts are doing host read ads or sponsored rooms featuring brand guests. And some of the best way to determine ROI for sponsors is promo codes and affiliate links outside the platform. And as she says, reporting the creators aren't receiving detailed analytics on their shows, or are they given any demographic information about their listeners. So Clubhouse says it doesn't collect demographic data. So even if it wanted to share it, it couldn't. Well, then how could you have a program like that and not tell people what kind of results they were getting? So, my feeling is I'm with you. I think Clubhouse is very well on its way to being over.
Yeah, I don't know if that's the case, but it has been a long time annoyance of me. One of my longtime annoyances of startups that they'll create an app. Somebody has a great idea. Oh, this is a brilliant idea, and let's do it. Let's create an app and stuff. And then they don't they pay no attention to the analytics or what it's going to take to monetize it, which is the analytics. You need to be able to measure who you're marketing to until it's too late, basically, or until Snapchat went through this. It's like forever.
Right.
It takes them forever to figure that out. You need to have that system in place fairly quickly if you start getting popular.
Well, I think that Clubhouse served a really important purpose during the pandemic when people were stuck at home. But now that people are, sort of moving around more and some people are back in offices, live conferences are happening, although I'm not going to any. People are traveling for business again. So it's not the same thing that it was before, where it really was helping people stay sane. But
well, it's also to take advantage of what it has to offer. There's plenty of good stuff on Clubhouse.
Totally.
You have to be in one place. It's not like podcasts where you can just schedule them. So I listen to podcasts whenever I drive somewhere. And when people are, as you said, when people are in the pandemic, they were stuck at home. They were in one place where they could listen to it.
Yeah. And because they're not recorded, you can't go back to it. So it's kind of silly, but that brings us to smiles, right? Happier stuff.
It does indeed. Yes.
Okay. So this is just fun. I found this on YouTube. It's a mariachi band serenading a beluga whale who seems to be responding to the music. I'll post the video. It's just funny.
Mine is, have you seen News of the World, the movie News of the World?
No.
Watch it. It stars Tom Hanks. It's all about storytelling, the power of storytelling.
Is it on Netflix? Where is it?
I can't remember where I saw it. I can't remember. It's probably
you have
Netflix.
a YouTube link here, so
that's the trailer right there. But it is it's just a wonderful movie. Tom Hanks plays a former Confederate soldier who makes a living going from town to town reading the news. So it takes place in Texas, and he just goes from town to town, and people give him coins and stuff to read what's in the latest in the newspaper, because that's how people, we didn't have the internet. And so he will take out his newspapers and read the latest news of the world to the townsfolk who gather in a room to hear him do it. And so that's one thing. It's the story of how people received information about the world around them. But it's also a story about how the South adjusted to losing the Civil War. It's also a story about racism. It's a story. There's a child who Tom Hanks's character discovers and has a duty to protect. I won't give away the whole story, but who he spends time with along the line, and she is just an amazing actress. This child who plays the companion, and she has her own stories to tell. It's just very, very, very mental. A lot of different levels to it. And I just encourage everybody to watch. I'll put a link to the trailer in the show notes.
He is such a great actor, and I've yet to dislike anything I've ever
There you
seen
go.
Tom Hanks in, you know?
Yeah, yeah,
So that brings us to shiny objects.
it does.
So I came across one that's called Pinboard, and it's a fast bookmarking website for it keeps track of things that you find online, and it manages your tab clutter. It's the site is one of the oldest independent run businesses on the web, and it's $22 a year. And it has this small button to your browser, and it lets you remember things you read, giving you the chance to label them with tags and descriptive text. And it's searchable, so you can pipe a lot of stuff into Pinboard and be able to find it months later. And it works really well. I like it a lot.
Yeah, I've used Pinboard before. I like it. It's been a while, but yeah. Mine is called Sources of Color, and it is basically help a reporter out for BIPOC sources. So help a reporter out, for those of you who are not familiar with, is a service where journalists sign up for it and PR people sign up for it, and journalists will post requests for sources for the stories they're working on, and then the PR pros who are a part of it will scan, like I get subscription to help a reporter out. I scan it every morning, look for things that I myself might be able to answer, or one of my clients or somebody I know might be able to answer, and then reply to that request from a reporter. But this is that for BIPOC sources in particular. So great resource. It's sourcesofcolor.com.
What's BIPOC?
Uh, People of color.
Oh, I didn't know that acronym. So the other one that I learned about was called SPINN, SPINN.com. And this is a site and a device, a very expensive device that allows you to make your coffee from your bed. And they have all sorts of estate grown coffees that you can try. And it's a startup. It's really worth taking a look at. I mean, I make coffee in a press pot. All I have to do is boil water and pour it on the grounds that I have a grinder, and I grind up my beans. But this does all that for you, and you can turn it on from your bed, which is sort of a nice idea.
It's a great idea.
Yeah.
All right. Pro tips.
Oh yeah, this is from SEMrush. You know, they have such extremely wonderful blog posts, and they have an absolutely complete guide to customer analysis. It's a 9-step exhaustive guide, and there's just a couple of these are just a couple of the reasons why you should do it. You can shape your communications and marketing to address your customers' goals and speak their language if you understand their persona. You can better target your customers through segmentation and increase your targeted marketing. You can define what makes your marketing channels reach your customers best, and then you'll know where to invest your ad dollars. Helps you understand how to improve your products or services, and it lets you better your relationships and improve your customer loyalty. So I think that is worth reading, and I'll put a link to it in the show notes. Their blog posts are really exhaustive. They rival ones from Social Media Today when they have a guide to something, and gives you like absolute step-by-step everything you could ever need to know.
Yeah, they do a great job with their content, and their content is their product is just as good as their content, I will say, as a user.
It totally is remarkable. I mean, it really is. I have another one. Do you have another one?
No, go ahead.
This is just YouTube rebranded the YouTube support channel. It's rebranded as the YouTube viewers channel, and it's going to focus on news and tutorials for video viewers, and has tips for YouTube Premium, for YouTube Music, YouTube TV, and YouTube Kids. And it just got it's a good learning platform.
Cool. Cool. Let's wrap this up. Weekly numbers, and this is from the Bright Local Customer Review Survey I mentioned earlier. It's not statistics so much as facts that were gathered from the survey. The most important review factors, according to survey participants, are, in order: 1, star rating; 2, legitimacy or perceived legitimacy. 3, recency, how recent are the reviews. 4, sentiment of, what's the sentiment of the reviews. And 5, quantity, how many there are. So the calculations that people make, I always say, if people are scrolling through, like for restaurant listings in particular, scrolling through to find a restaurant they want to go to on their mobile, because they're most likely to be on their mobile, the first thing you're going to pay attention to is the star rating. The second thing they're going to pay attention to is how many ratings are there. So you kind of make the calculation. If there's two ratings and it's a 5-star rating, that's not very, what do you know about that, right? And then the others on mobile in particular, I think come into after those two things, quantity and star rating. Then they go and look at the reviews and see whether they seem legitimate and what the sentiment of them are and so forth. But put a link to the survey in the show notes where people can check it out, both for the stats and for the excellent presentation.
Okay, that brings us to the end of episode 363. C363 of the Beyond Social Media Show. And you find us by just searching the Beyond Social Media Show, and links to everything that we have ever done since 2012 are at beyondsocialmediashow.com. And we hope that you will go and take a look and subscribe to our newsletter. So I'm here with David Erickson, who is D. Erickson on Twitter. He's D.E. Erickson on Instagram. On YouTube, he's eStrategy, and he blogs at the wonderful e-strategyblog.com. I'm BL Ochman. I'm What's Next on Twitter. I occasionally blog at What's Next Blog. My YouTube channel is What's Next Blog. I have a website at blochman.com. And again, the show is beyondsocialmediashow.com. And on Twitter, we're at BS Media Show, and you will find us everywhere that podcasts are. And you can also tell your smart speaker to play Beyond Social Media Show. And we'll be back next week. Same bat channel. Thanks.